If I'd done the MBA, I wouldn't be doing a thesis. So it's a decision I now regret. So what I have is 20 questions for you, just about your thoughts on the MBA, how you got to the decision to do it, and so on. I'm recording it not to record you, but because I actually have to transcribe the interview.
Okay.
And so I'll be recording it largely for your voice. In USF's research, they're very clear and firm on their permission slips. So this is the name of the study. I am the student doing it. I have a faculty advisor. And if you want to, you can read the whole 6-page permission form, but really what it's saying is that it's completely voluntary. There's no benefit to you for participating. There's no harm that can be done to you for participating. You get no money, and that it's confidential and that it's used for research. And so if you would sign, like I said, you can read the whole thing, but it's essentially indicating that this is a research project. Actually recording, not yet, okay. Okay, thank you. Uh-huh.
It's not working, but you're busy now.
Yeah, if you'll call tech support 41222, they'll send somebody over.
Okay.
Okay, before we start, did you want anything to drink? Coke, Diet
No.
Coke, water, anything?
No, I'm fine, thank
Okay.
you.
Record. Okay. So, like I said, these are essentially easy questions. Starting first with,
That's
I
good,
need
'cause I
to,
didn't study.
good. I need to give you an alias. So, what shall I call you in this research project? Do you have a name you always wished you were named?
How about Chase?
Okay, there you go, Chase. And you are a Caucasian male, I'm assuming?
Sounds like a good label.
Okay, and how old are you?
37.
And are you single, married,
I'm married,
kids?
one,
Oh, okay. How old?
he's 6.
School age. Okay. So we'll start first with the really hard ones here. Where did you attend school for your undergraduate degree, and what did you study?
I went to University of South Florida, the St. Pete campus. I was an accounting major,
Okay. How long ago did you graduate?
07. 06 actually, December 06.
And did you work while going to school?
I did, I worked part-time, not in the field, but I
Okay.
did work.
And have you worked in the field since you graduated?
I have.
How many years, and what do you do?
About 6 years, I'm an accountant.
What firm do you work for?
So right now I work for a company called Cunningham Lindsey. They're in the insurance industry. So what we do is loss adjusting on a global scale. We operate in about 44 different countries. I'm not sure how familiar you are with loss adjusting, so I could.
Not very, but I'm assuming it's pretty self-explanatory. Adjusting the balance sheets for.
So in the insurance industry, you have underwriters. So
Mhm.
you have a house, right, and you have homeowners insurance or whatever. So generally somebody like State Farm or Travelers or something like that. So let's say your kitchen catches on fire and you call State Farm and they send someone out to look at your kitchen. That person who comes out is a loss adjuster. So it's not always, but oftentimes it's a third party
Mhm.
that's hired by the underwriter. So the actual insurance company who's basically holding all the risk. They're underwriting the policy, right?
Mhm.
So they would take a loss on the damage to your kitchen. The third party, or it's not always a third party, but oftentimes this loss adjuster that comes in, they actually make their money when the transaction happens. So it's an inverse relationship from a revenue standpoint. And when there's a hurricane that comes through or anything like that, the underwriter, the insurance company, takes huge losses, but that's when we make money. Is putting basically getting people who've gone through these cataclysmic events and all that back on their feet and all
Mhm.
that. So
Okay, and you're not a loss adjuster, you're an accountant
I'm
for
in
the
the
company.
finance and accounting department for this company.
Okay. So how long ago did you first start thinking about getting an MBA?
It was probably always on my radar. As soon as I went to college to become an accountant, my first goal was to get my CPA license. So that was first. I was licensed in January of 2011.
Okay.
So after my undergrad, I had to do additional coursework to satisfy the education requirements for the state of Florida. So I got that out of the way, and then I took a break because it was hard on my family and stuff. But it was always, I always knew that I would go back and get my MBA.
So do you have a Mac degree?
I don't. I just did additional coursework
To satisfy
Yeah,
that.
I had extra credits, so I didn't need enough to warrant getting a master's degree at the time. So I just did 3 or 4 classes, and that was all I needed to then sit for the CPA.
So at this point, why are you thinking about an MBA versus a Mac?
Because I'd like to be a controller. There's two reasons basically. So one, my current career trajectory, I have my eyes on being a controller of an organization at some point. So to get to that point, if I'm sitting in a room interviewing for the same position with someone else who has an MBA,
Mhm.
then chances are I might lose out, all of the things being equal, right?
Right. Okay. So was there a particular incident that led you to think more about it more recently? Kind of what sparked where you are now?
It's just a good point in my career. So about 3 years ago, I back up a little bit. But when I got my undergraduate degree, I went to work for OSI Restaurant Partners. So I was there for about 3 years. At that point, I moved on to where I am now, Cunningham Lindsay.
Mhm.
So as soon as I hit the ground at Cunningham Lindsay, it was nonstop go. So it's lots
3
of
years
change,
ago.
lots of extra, 3.5, almost 4. So constant change. It's just been real busy, lots of experience and everything. So I've wanted to get my MBA, but I haven't had time. And now things are kind of slowed down to a point where it's just a natural point in my career to do this.
Okay. And you are in your first semester of classes now.
I am. Yep.
So when you started thinking about the MBA, what did you think the long-term benefit would be?
So long-term benefit, obviously, it positions me in the workplace, right, for a higher level management role, which controller is so. On the other hand, if I also what really attracts me about the program here is the entrepreneurship program.
Ah.
So if every once in a while I have an idea, I'm like, that's a great idea. I don't know what to do with it. And so it's kind of I want to have that kind of foundational knowledge or whatever, so that I can branch out and have a side business, or maybe develop it into something more if that opportunity or whatever comes along. So.
And did you think there might be any short-term benefits?
Not really. I mean, short term meaning what? 6 to 12 months or 1 to 3 years. I'm a senior corporate accountant right now. I have a staff of 3 reporting to me, and the next logical step in my career trajectory would be accounting manager. So this would help me with that. So.
Okay. And what about any headaches? Did you think there'd be any headaches associated with this degree?
Just hard work. I don't know that I would call it a headache or whatever, but cost and time and other resources. So.
Okay. Yep, all of those are resources. So how long did you think about getting the degree before you actually began to research programs?
Well, like I said, when I was in my undergrad, I knew that eventually I was going to get an MBA. So I guess probably in maybe around the beginning of this last year, when I started sensing that it's probably a good time to start looking, I started investigating several different programs. So probably about a year ago, I guess.
Okay. And so for you, it sounds like you had already decided on the degree program before you decided on the university.
Yes.
And what, well, before I get to that one. Did you take the GMAT before exploring programs, after exploring programs, once you knew where you were going?
After.
After you knew where you were going?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So what other universities did you consider?
There was Auburn, Penn State, University of Florida, primarily because of their online programs. I liked them for their name recognition, and the fact that I could do it online. Ultimately, I decided against it. I didn't look at any other schools in the area, though.
Okay.
I really don't consider University of Tampa and USF on the same level. So just personally.
Okay. Great. So how did you go about seeking information on the programs?
Online.
Did you go to any info sessions?
No, I found everything I needed on various websites.
Right. Did you seek any word of mouth reputational kind of reviews from friends, coworkers?
Not really. I have a friend who went through the MBA program here, and he had good things to say about it. But having gotten my undergrad at USF, I'm comfortable with the quality and all that. So.
And what about coworkers or bosses or anyone like that? Did you ask any input
For their
from them?
opinion on
Mhm.
where to go? No.
Okay. What factors were important to you as you began to research the programs? For instance, were you looking at program content, or were there other factors?
A couple different things. First of all, the program content. The entrepreneurship program's kind of unique, so that was a big plus in my mind. The cost wasn't. It really wasn't that much of a deciding factor. The cost. The network of people was more important to me. So and that was ultimately why I decided not to get an online degree from Florida or Auburn or Penn State or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has name recognition, but really what you pay for in a master's program is the people you meet. At least that's where I would put my value, right? So the only way I was gonna take advantage of that was to go to a local university. So
Great. Well, let me go back here. Once you decided on the degree, you already told me what other universities you considered. Was there anything about those universities that was really a factor for you? You mentioned reputation or name. Anything else? Was size, faculty?
no, literally it would have been for the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there was nothing better from what I found. There was nothing better about those programs, when I compared them to USF's MBA program. So.
But you would not put USF and Penn State and Auburn and Florida all in the same league, or you would?
I don't know why not.
Okay.
I mean, the only difference is the name recognition, really, right?
Okay.
Because everybody all over the country knows Penn State and University of Florida. And not everybody really knows USF, but that's okay,
Right.
Because for working in Central Florida, everybody knows who what USF is, and eventually if I leave and go to Boston or Chicago or some other big city or whatever, what's going to matter more? First of all, they're going to want to know that it's a reputable college. It's a state college, so it's obviously a reputable university. But more important than that is my work performance, my work history over the last several years is going to weigh more in any kind of hiring decision than what school I went to.
I think you're right. So the things that you've mentioned, I'm going to list a whole bunch of them here. The network of people, kind of the caliber of people in the classroom, career trajectory and your position in the workplace, the entrepreneurship options, online options versus face-to-face, the name or reputation of the university, program content, and cost. All of these, it sounds like, were factors that you were considering.
Yes.
What was the one most important out of all of them?
It was the network of people.
Great. Jumping subject here, are you on any sort of tuition reimbursement program or employer tuition assistance?
I am.
Okay. Because I've been
it's like
pleasantly
kind of
surprised that
back
cost
out
is
the-
not number one for everybody, but it hasn't been.
No, not really. I mean, it ends up being expensive anyway. But
Is it back up?
you know,
Yeah.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard for me to say that it's the network of people because I haven't found an entrepreneurship track at any of the schools, and that was very attractive. So that's a close second, if not for it's hard. I don't know. It's one or the other.
Make sure you get in Dr. Fountain's class for something. Make sure any chance you
Dr.
have.
Felton.
Fountain.
Fountain,
He's
okay.
the guy in charge of all the entrepreneurship.
Gotcha. Okay.
You get.
I have Professor Lux for my next class that starts on the 4th or the 5th.
He's good. So, I jumped around, so I'm looking back to see if I missed any questions. You didn't go to any info sessions for any universities.
No,
You just
I
did it all
didn't.
online.
Yeah, I mean, I got some information from University of Florida, you know, via mail or whatever, but I didn't.
So what are my question was, what are your career aspirations, short-term and long-term? Long-term, you've really already told me. You want to be the controller of a company.
Right.
What are your short-term career goals?
Short-term career goals would be accounting manager. So I'd like to manage managers. Right now, I have a staff, and in some organizations that would be called an accounting manager anyway. But what I really want is that next step being, you know, being able to manage and lead other managers.
How long do you believe it will take for you to see a monetary gain as a result of earning this degree?
Well, you know, it's hard to quantify, right? Because I could get a promotion unless they tell you it's because you got the MBA degree, then I wouldn't know, right? So I anticipate getting a promotion within the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't have my degree by then. So, you know, I anticipate
Would the
being-
degree open a door for a promotion for you, though, if you
Absolutely.
didn't have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe 2-3 years.
Well, let me ask this a different way then. How long do you believe it will take for you to say this degree was worth it?
I'll say 3 to 5 years.
Well, you were a very fast interview because you've hit all of my questions. Do you have anything you want to add? Anything I didn't ask you kind of as you thought about the MBA? Or?
Can you kind of tell me again what the interview is for?
I'm going for the master's degree in strategic communications.
Okay.
And so my research question is, what factors do prospective MBA students
Okay.
consider when deciding whether or not to go for the degree, and then once they've made that decision, which university to attend?
Sure.
And the reason I want to know this is so that I can write effective messages
Sure.
that do that. For instance, the past 5-6 ads that I've put out about our MBA program
Okay.
have all talked about the quality of our faculty
Yep.
and how they're awesome, and this. That has almost never been even on the list of what students say. So I'm lauding the wrong thing. I need to talk about our reputation more. I need to talk more about the people in the classroom. So it's going to help me better target our audience. So that's the only way to know what people are thinking about when they're just starting an MBA, is to ask them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember coming across. I forget the actual rankings, but the ranking of the school, you know, on a national, you know, public school basis, and then the MBA program itself. I forget what it's ranked, but it was, you know, it was well ranked.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the top 50.
Yeah, I think we're
recall.
number 34
Okay.
or something like that. But
That's not bad.
no, Florida's got us beat. But
You know, it
Florida's
always
also
you know what
twice
it
as
comes
old as
down
we
to
are.
is, it's always about football programs, all right? Has nothing to do with academics or anything, you know?